Noyce, Leadership and Entrepreneurship Manager in Smart Growth at SEEDA. And I've been here on the creativity session with Fred, a mixture of people across SEEDA, different grades, different experience, different times at SEEDA. So I think it's been a really good mixture of people to get some different ideas, and I think the way that the day's been organised and set up has really allowed everybody to have a go and have a say. And I think what was particularly good for all of us, because everyone's got different levels of confidence, different things they feel they want to talk about or say, is the way that Fred got us all to put our ideas down and then in groups whittle them down, so that there was no kind of hands up, on an idea. It was a joint decision. And then we got the opportunity to sort of talk verbally, to write things down, have thinking space, and then get creative on the walls, which is something we don't often get to do. And I think everybody would probably agree that we'd like writable walls at SEEDA.
So I think as a facilitator of organizational change, you have a few responsibilities. For me, organizational change is about emergence. The organization requires to change their structure, their strategy, the hard and the software of the organization in order to meet future demand, future challenges. Now, as a facilitator, you need to safeguard, or at least, let's say, work with this process of emergence, where this new structure and these new processes are being designed. And emergence is always a bottom-up process, where individual pieces or individual thoughts and ideas about the future have to be connected in a kind of a group process, so that they get meaning, a bigger meaning for the organization. Now, as a facilitator, you need to be aware then of group dynamics between individuals, within a team, between teams, between departments. So I work with a few teams and I look at the projects they're facing and how they interact and think about it for each other. Organizational developers that facilitate this organizational change process, they need to do a few things. They need to train people in these kind of techniques. They need to train these people in awareness. So what is an emergent process of organizational change? How do you work with fear and anxiety in these processes? How do you create meaning? And then, once that is there, how do you put it into practice? So, and that's where management comes in, because management has a big responsibility, and together with these organizational developers need to point out where is the potential, where is the critical mass building, and that's where they need to invest their time and money. And I think often that is forgotten in a bottom-up process. A question that related to creativity and to change can be a question that is much more related to your project, and of which you think that we all would be able to work on. Or how you can work on questions. Because normally we take a question and we start generating ideas, while here I had them, compared to all the other sessions, much more discuss the questions. And of course there I'll also do a bottom-up process. So they continuously have to think like, okay, is this interesting for us? Because I gave them two criteria, interesting and challenging. And then they came up with a certain selection. But I want you to make sure that we have a selection of questions that if we address them and we find solutions, that you will be empowered to take those solutions forward. So they started to discuss it again, but then more from a personal perspective as well. We'll really look at that part. And I think one group stayed with their selection, and the other group I think, reshuffled one or two questions. And then we started just idea generation.
A thought tent in the car park. Is do not allow the eating and drinking at desks, so you're forcing people away from their desks.
Renting space in Victoria House, the office block opposite us.
Possibly a quiet area for thinking or reflection.
Should put a social committee, or like a working group of people just to perhaps organise some things more sort of formally.
And then it became very interesting because they generated some clusters and the ideas are already so concrete. And said, okay, why don't we just look at this cluster and talk what it is about? And then they said, well, this cluster is about managerial acceptance. You know, can we build a business case? And that one is about, you know, can we create a space? And then I said, so looked at that and I said, can we have a look at this just to do a small inquiry? And then I thought, oh, maybe it's a nice ending exercise to let them actually design the space, because they, you know, doing something with the space generated a lot of, you know, flow or energy.
I would definitely recommend that people have a go at Fred or with colleagues, but to actually take time to go away and think with colleagues about problems and issues and use the techniques that we've learnt today, definitely. I don't think we take enough time at SEEDA to actually think, and rather, you know, instead of firefighting and problem solving in a mad panic, actually sit down and think about things in a creative way. But I think you do have to learn to be creative, because we're so driven by processes and systems and ways that we've got to work, which are all right and good for you know, day to day, but to take creative time, really important and I think really valuable. And this space here has been fantastic.